We're out of Headwaters Lake in Florida. It's been a fun couple days. We're out here flipping mats right now. Started off this morning doing some different stuff. There was fish out in the open, chasing stuff around. They were biting pretty good, kind of disappeared, and the sun came up. Got a big weight out, Z-Man goats, and started flipping a bunch of these mats and catching a bunch of nice fish now. And it's a whole lot of fun. Stay tuned and catch more action flipping really heavy hydrilla mats in Florida. Punching the hydrilla. Big weight out. Ooh, there he goes. Just picked up a big weight though. It's kind of slowed down, you know. The water keeps getting a little cleaner, and there's a lot of deep grass, a lot of place for this fish to be, and we caught several up the way here on the outside edge this morning, but it gets getting sunnier and sunnier. The logical place for them to be is up in this stuff. But the problem is there's a whole lot of it for how many fish there are, I think. We didn't do it very long, then we got a bite, so we're gonna do that a little bit longer and see how it goes. You know, it could turn into a good thing. Up there, the wind's blowing hard enough that we can't get our bait through the hydrilla even. It's just got it all packed together. So we got down here where it's a little more protected, and you can actually get a bait through. So we'll see. That didn't take long to get a bite. Hopefully there's more to come. A little better one. That fell down through the mat. 1.5 ounce weight. A Z-Man goat fell down through the mat, and that thing, I mean, it was startling the way it hit it. That's pretty fun when they bite it like that. Not a giant fish. We're getting a few bites doing it. It's kind of encouraging. Punching mats like this is a great way to catch big fish. So we're going to keep doing this for a little while. Hopefully they keep growing up, because the last one was about half this size, and we'll keep moving down through here. I think we'll get a good one before long. It's a little bit discouraging because there's a lot of water to fish, and they could be about anywhere, but we're getting some bites. Maybe there's a lot of them in there, and keep figuring it out as we go. The goat by Z-Man is a bait that came out not that long ago. You know, it's kind of an exciting bait for me just because it's a really universal bait, has a very different action. There are two little legs that kick really tight together. So we know the beaver style bait doesn't do much, it really glides. And then you get into big cross style baits that kick really hard. This is kind of a halfway between as far as the action goes. It's made out of Elastec like all the Z-Man stuff, so really durable, it's buoyant, but good for so many different uses. You know, this is my favorite bait to use on a swing head. I punch with it, flip it by itself, just pitching it around a lot. It works great as a jig trailer, a chatterbait trailer. There's just so many things you can do with it. I personally don't Carolina rig with it just because I hate Carolina rigging, but I know there's guys that catch them on a Carolina rig on it, and there's 3 different sizes. There's a baby goat that I've caught them really good fishing like a Ned rig. Caught them better than the traditional Ned rig baits with that. Then there's the billy goat, which is a big one too. If you want a bigger bait to punch with, or if you want something for a big jig trailer, works awesome for that. It's a bait that you can swim, you can flip, you can drag on the bottom, do about everything. Not a tremendous amount of action, like I said, like a big craw, but it's also not like the beaver style baits that are very subtle and don't do very much of anything. It's kind of a happy medium and makes it a super universal bait to catch them in so many different situations. God dang. I don't know if that was a gar or a bass. It rocked it when it fell through the hole, but there was absolutely nothing there when I... Got him. He did come back. It's not a very big one. I got a lot of mat and some little tiny fish on there, I believe. That was like 3 pitches later, I finally got him to bite again. Oh, we got him. It was a little one. I flipped in there and I felt something tunk it, but then there was nothing there when I missed it. And threw back in there a few pitches later, I caught him. Not a real big guy, but still got him. It feels good to get a little revenge when they bite your bite your bait and you don't get them the first time. You know, flipping these mats is something, there's a lot more than just throwing a bait out there and having it slam through the mat and something's gonna attack it. And, you know, there's guys that do it all the time and are really good at it, and there's other guys that kind of struggle along. You know, some of the stuff I've learned over the years is entry is really important. You think because you're punching through a mat, you could just sit there and throw it up in the air and one's gonna go attack it, you know, and there's times that happens. There's times you have to throw it like that to get it to go through. There's also times that it really spooks those fish, and entry can be so important. The thinner the cover is, you want to make as good entry as you can. You're using 1.5 ounce weight, so sometimes that's not really easy. Staying as far as you can and making a great entry is very important, even though you're fishing down under a mat like that. It startles those fish. You want this to come through there and be a surprise. It's going to race by their face, and it's time for them to bite it or not as it's falling down by them. So, you know, the fact of the matter is little impact you can make in the mat is good. But there's times we get these mats like this, I will flip it out there, stop it right before it hits the water. You want to get that bait to turn so it's going head first down into the hole. You have to make more of a hole to get through sometimes. I'm sure you'd get more bites if it didn't fall through, and guys say, well, why would you use like a 2.5 ounce weight? Well, that doesn't always solve the problem, because the 2.5 ounce weight still gets bigger. And you know, sometimes a lighter weight actually goes through just as good if you're throwing it up like that in that really thick stuff. But, you know, just looking at these mats, you can see they look almost all the same down through here. But you'll see little seams, and you'll see areas that are a little bit thicker. Those differences that are very, very subtle on the surface, to me anyway, are a lot bigger below, because that could be one plume of hydrilla that's growing up, or a big opening. And you want to find those canopies, those areas that are open. So there's a lot of times that they'll be under a canopy, but they want to be under stuff with thick stuff over the top of it. There's other times these open areas that are in between those clumps of hydrilla, that's where they want to sit. And throughout the course of the day it may change, but you really want to pay attention to what you flip to when you get that bite and try to duplicate that. A lot of times all the mats in that area, you're going to catch them on very similar stuff like that. Oh, get in here. I don't know if I still got it. I think. Oh, got him. It's amazing, those fish. When they bite that NRX Plus and the combination of braid, it is, I mean, it gives you chills. It's like you just got hit by a car. It's startling. That's pretty fun. I flipped there. That one just went smoking the other way with it when it bit it. And then my bait sped up and it's falling with 1.5 ounce weight, falling pretty fast. That little goat though, it couldn't stand it racing by his face like that. That's awesome. We finally caught one in one of these little cut throughs, really where I thought they would be, where there's some wind blowing over this dike. And the other ones we've been getting bit have not been there, but we finally got a bite there. Hopefully we got some more of that coming up here. I think that's gonna be better, but we'll find out. We're still looking for one of those big ones, but we're getting some quality bites, punching that hydrilla. That's a lot of fun. That's just, the bite on that is about as good as catching one on top water. It's so startling with that NRX Plus and braid. When one bites, it's it just sends chills up your spine. It's pretty cool. Come on, get out of there. I can't tell. It's just buried. It had decent head shakes. Don't know what we got here. Could be a small alligator. Might be a giant bass. Could be a little bass. Oh, couldn't get close enough. I feel fish. Got it. Oh. A little better one. Man, that thing whipped me in that grass. They just get so bound up. That grass is so thick. I don't, you know, punching, I don't like to use a really heavy rod. This is a 904, so it's a MBR. It's a 7.5 foot rod. It's kind of an all-around flipping stick. A lot of guys use like a 711, a big heavy rod for flipping, and I think you pull that weight out of their mouth so much it opens their mouth up. I feel like you hook them a lot better with a little softer rod. It's more work. While you're fishing it, that weight's more exhausting to use. It's just kind of a pain to use it, but man, like you just hook them so much better. You have way less fish get off. You don't jerk those little ones out of the holes, and you still get them out. A lot of times you got to go get them. Now this is a flipping stick. It's plenty enough for fishing most everything you flip with the 904 is. But these mats here, guys want to use really super stiff rods. It's not for me. Personally, I don't like them. But anyway, hooking them's more important than getting them out of there, because you can always go get them. That's a nice fish right there, flipping these mats. We started off this morning throwing all kinds of stuff, and they were biting a little bit and kind of disappeared. So now we've moved up to the mats. They have one place to go really here. When they're not out on this edge biting anymore, they're back in this stuff. There's just a lot of it. We're just slowly going along, picking one off here and there. That's a beauty there. You know, just as important as your rod flipping this stuff, all the rest of your equipment has to be really good too. You're putting a lot of test on all your gear, and you know, for me there's a few things that are really important. 65-pound braid. This is Seaguar Stealth. It's the one I like. I like a really smooth braid so it doesn't make that sawing noise when it's coming through the grass. I just think it gets you a couple more bites throughout the course of the day. This is a Bantam 6-1 reel, 6-1 to 1. So I don't really like a super fast reel for this really heavy stuff, because I want more power. I want to be able to winch those fish if I have to, point it at them and turn the handle and be able to power the fish out of there if I can't get to them. So I like a little bit slower reel. It's Bantam's all aluminum frame, super solid. So it's definitely the reel I use all the time punching. Of course, a jungle flipping hook, owner jungle flipping hook, 1.5 ounce Reins tungsten, little bobber stop on top of it, and you're ready to go. But you need to have really good equipment doing this. You can't show up with fluorocarbon or mono, or a hook that's going to bend out, or a reel that you don't have the power to get the fish out of there, along with a rod that's suited for hooking those fish and being able to present the bait properly. Oh, got him. Got one on the yo-yo finally. Haven't had many of those. Not a giant bass, but still a lot of fun. I tell you, catching and flipping that hydrilla is an absolute blast. Little goats is an awesome bait. You can catch 40, 50 fish on one bait. Never have to put a new bait on. Tons of action. Gets a lot of bites. Got the NRX Plus. You can feel them as they're smelling it. You know, this NRX Plus rod's a big part of doing this here. You want a pretty light rod. You're already throwing an 1.5 ounce weight with the bait, so you need a light rod, but you need something strong too. These NRX Pluses have a Spiral X technology, which allows them to have a thinner wall and they're strong rods, so they're really light, increases the sensitivity because of it. One really cool deal is the CI4 reel seat on them. Your hand's actually on the blank all the time, so even more sensitive. It's amazing how far rods have came. This is by far the best rod I've thrown, and all the stuff put together that we just talked about makes it by far the most sensitive rod I've held in my hands. And flipping like this, you want to know when you get that bite when it's falling through. You don't want that fish swimming off any further back into that stuff than when he already has it. Yeah, I mean, what in the world? Hit it so hard, nothing there. Got you that time. Oh, another black one. It's the one I just missed a minute ago. Surprised I'm missing as many as I am, but we got him. Went back and got him, punched back in there. It's so hard to get through these mats, they're so thick. It took me about 4 flips to get back in there to get him, but we made him pay. Couldn't resist the old goats, or goat, Z-Man goat, black and blue. Really for flipping any kind of dark color in these mats. I don't think it matters, but any kind of dark color will do the trick. Man, talk about biting it. That's pretty cool. That one just absolutely wrecked it. That was like 10 feet down and just absolutely jumped my line when it bit it. Couldn't resist the little goat. You can see how dark he is. He's just been living under that mat. That tannic water. I think we might call it quits for the flipping here for the day though. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this. We might do a little bit more here a little bit later on. It's been a good time catching a lot of these fish in Florida, Headwaters Lake, flipping a lot of mats here, 1.5 ounce weight, Z-Man goats, the new NRX Plus by Loomis. It's been an absolute blast. Like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you have, like, share, tag a friend, and get in the gear giveaway. They're giving away some really cool stuff. Z-Man, Shimano, Loomis, gonna do a gear giveaway. Sign up for all that. Check us out next week. We'll be on Headwaters Lake again catching some more bass.